We live in a consumer society where trends dictate choices and brands shape our sense of self. The number and quality of possessions defines our personal worth. Fueled by an economy that thrives on our insatiable desires for more, we find ourselves trapped in an endless loop of constantly desiring more possessions. This is To break free from this consumerist trap, we first have to understand the fundamentals of the issue at hand. For the majority of history, non-essential items were only available to the ultra-wealthy. Now, this left for a massive market of untapped potential, the common individual. The Industrial Revolution was a real turning point for this. This can be greatly attributed to Henry Ford with his creation of the assembly line. Now, his main objective was not to provide automobiles for the ultra-wealthy, but for the average working individual. With technological advancements in factories, the efficiency in which goods were produced actually allowed for prices to decrease and working wages to increase. That would be great if that was happening today. This also created the mass production of advertisements encouraging consumption. The more people bought, the more demand, and the higher the wage increase. This led to the economic boom of the 1920s, or the Roaring '20s. Greed, overconsumption, and ignorance followed, which eventually led to the Great Depression in 1929. Now, this sounds eerily familiar to what is going on now today. However, I did actually find some comfort in hearing this. Overall, history is repeating itself, which still leads us to being able to make a pivot. However, what I'm about to say is not quite as comforting. During the early 1900s, John D Rockefeller was creating the GEB, a promotion of education to the common person. He donated around $43 million to the GEB, with that being equivalent to about $1.4 billion today. While I actually couldn't find any proof, Rockefeller supposedly said, "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." Now, I actually think the more important quote stems from his most trusted advisor and a key founder of the GEB, Frederick Taylor Gates. "We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning or men of science. The task we set before ourselves is very simple as well as a very beautiful one. To train these people as we find them into a perfectly ideal life, just the way they are. So we will organize our children into a little community and teach them to do it in a perfect way." Recognizing this greatly impacts our understanding of the issues of today's modern society. On average, Americans see 4,000 to 10,000 ads every single day, with 76% of adults making less than $50,000 a year living paycheck to paycheck, and it taking 5 to 20 years or more to be able to pay off a bachelor's degree. The issue is while we were very high consumers in the 20s, the majority of the items that we were buying were actually needed. Refrigerators, washing machines, vehicles, telephones could all be deemed as non-essentials, but greatly impacted the quality of life. Unfortunately, because our education focused so much on making good workers, we did not celebrate being an innovator. And instead of us making products that would greatly change the quality of our life, we instead chose to market in a way that gave us the impression that the good was going to greatly improve our life. The marketing now is prioritizing us to have the illusion that we need an item to fit in or to have worth, when in reality, the increase in quality of our life is so minuscule from the item that we buy, which dawns the age of hyper-consumerism. Now, hyper-consumerism in this way is something that is unique because it is mostly being driven by how easy it is to consume different types of goods through just your phone. The ability to be able to watch a movie while also scouring the internet, while also checking in on social media, while also ordering food to be delivered to your home, can all be done without having to get out of bed. It's something that is so easy for us to do, we almost instinctively just want to do it more because there's no resistance that we have to go through. So something that I would look at is, what are the items that you feel like you need, but are actually wants? In today's modern society, there is so few things that we actually need to have a fulfilling life that a lot of what we're consuming and we're purchasing is just wants that ultimately we actually don't even want. We just want to feel whole and safe and fulfilled within. Now, I want to make the argument that what is happening in today's society does not fully lie on the shoulders of the consumer, nor do I think that we should be called consumers. We are human beings. We are living in a society that the foundation is literally consumerism, as well as an education that is promoting us just to be a good little worker, to fund the cycle of consumerism. However, now that we recognize the cycle that we are in, it does lie on your shoulders to implement a change. The average American spends $18,000 on non-essential items a year. Actually addressing the faults in society allow us to be able to actually take in the responsibility, hence giving us power to make change in our own lives. And so it's important to address that ever since we were little kids throughout school, we have literally been taught and trained by marketing and advertisements that our feelings of fulfillment and happiness and self-worth are supposed to come outside ourselves. Another great example would be the fact that I am using 3 Sony FX cameras with Zeiss lenses. So each one of these is going to run you well over $5,000. The fact of the matter is that these cameras do not create a good YouTube video. These cameras is not going to let this video be successful. The point of it being successful is outside oneself as well. The point of the matter is that I use these as a tool for myself to be able to let my storytelling be more cinematic and more engaging, because that's the style and what it is that I like, what I feel. I don't need to have someone say that this was a successful video. I'm doing the best that I can, and when this video gets released, it is going to be a successful work of art for myself. And this comes from realizing that the fulfillment is going to come from within, not from any other item outside oneself. So I want to ask you the question. The car and the vacation that you want so bad and you're working so hard to be able to get, would you still want it if no one else was able to see what it is?
I don't think that anybody can grow unless he really is accepted exactly as he is. Because if somebody's always saying to a child, you're going to grow up and you're going to be fine. So much of that in this country anyway. You know, that a child is appreciated for what he will be, not for what he is. He will be a great consumer someday. And so the quicker we can get them to grow up, and the quicker we can get them out of the nest so that they will go out and buy, you know, set up their own home at 12 maybe, then the better.